Discipline is the soul of an army. It makes small numbers formidable, procures success to the weak and esteem to all. George Washington. George Washington's statement on discipline is more than a military observation. It is a timeless meditation on human organization, leadership, and moral strength. Spoken in the context of war, the quote transcends the battlefield and speaks to the deeper forces that determine whether individuals and groups merely exist or truly endure. For Washington, discipline was not a rigid obsession with rules, nor a tool of oppression. It was the animating spirit, the soul, that transformed disorder into unity, weakness into power, and obscurity into honor. To understand this quote fully, one must recognize the historical circumstances from which it emerged. Washington commanded the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War, a force that was frequently underpaid, underfed, poorly equipped, and vastly outnumbered by the professional British military. The success of the American cause did not rest on superior weapons or numbers, but on endurance, coordination, and moral resolve. Discipline became the invisible force that compensated for material deficiency. It was, in Washington's view, the difference between a mob and an army. When Washington says discipline is the soul of an army, he deliberately chooses a word associated with life, identity, and purpose. A body without a soul is lifeless. Similarly, an army without discipline is merely an armed crowd. Discipline gives coherence to action. It aligns individual wills with collective goals. It transforms fear into steadiness and chaos into order. Without it, even the most numerous force collapses under pressure. With it, even a small group can stand firm against overwhelming odds. Washington's first claim is that discipline makes small numbers formidable. This assertion challenges a basic assumption of power, that strength lies primarily in size. History repeatedly disproves this notion. From ancient Spartan phalanxes to modern special forces, disciplined units have defeated larger, less organized opponents. Discipline allows each member to function not as an isolated actor, but as a part of a coordinated whole. Timing, trust, and mutual reliance multiply effectiveness. A disciplined force does not panic easily, does not scatter at the first sign of adversity, and does not act at cross purposes. Formidability, in this sense, is not about intimidation alone. It is about reliability. An enemy fears disciplined opponents because they are predictable in their principles, yet adaptable in execution. They do not depend on luck or impulse. Their strength lies in preparation, restraint, and consistency. Thus, discipline converts numerical disadvantage into strategic advantage. Washington's second claim that discipline procures success to the weak is even more striking. Weakness here does not refer only to physical limitation, but to any lack of advantage, inferior resources, poor conditions, limited experience, or unfavorable circumstances. Discipline does not erase weakness, it manages it. It ensures that whatever strength exists is not wasted. The weak fail not merely because they lack power, but because they misapply it. Discipline conserves energy, sharpens focus, and prioritizes effort. In the Revolutionary War, American soldiers often lacked training and supplies, yet discipline allowed them to endure harsh winters, maintain formations under fire, and follow long-term strategy rather than short-term comfort. Success, therefore, was not sudden or spectacular, it was cumulative. Discipline made persistence possible. It allowed the weak to outlast the strong, a lesson that applies far beyond military affairs. In personal life, the same principle holds. Discipline enables individuals with modest talents to surpass those with greater natural ability but less consistency. It is the quiet force that turns intention into habit and habit into character. Whether in study, work, or moral conduct, discipline gives structure to effort. It allows progress even when motivation fades. In this way, Washington's insight becomes a universal law. Discipline is not a luxury for the strong, it is a necessity for the weak. The final part of the quote, "Discipline procures esteem to all," introduces a moral dimension. Esteem is not demanded, it is earned. A disciplined army gains respect not only from allies, but from enemies and civilians alike. Discipline restrains cruelty, prevents excess, and enforces accountability. It distinguishes legitimate force from mere violence. An undisciplined army may inspire fear, but it rarely commands respect. Washington understood that the reputation of the Continental Army mattered deeply. The struggle for independence was not only military, but moral. To be seen as a credible nation in waiting, America needed soldiers who obeyed rules, respected civilians, and upheld standards even in hardship. Discipline thus became a source of legitimacy. It demonstrated self-government, the very principle for which the revolution was fought. This idea of esteem extends beyond the army to society as a whole. Disciplined individuals earn trust. Disciplined institutions gain stability. Disciplined nations command respect on the world stage. Discipline signals seriousness of purpose. It tells others that one's actions are guided by principle rather than impulse. In an age that often celebrates spontaneity and rebellion, Washington's words remind us that true dignity arises from self-command. It is also important to note what Washington does not say. He does not claim that discipline guarantees victory, only that it procures success and esteem. Discipline is not magic. It does not eliminate uncertainty or suffering, but it maximizes the chance that effort will not be wasted. It ensures that failure, if it comes, is honorable rather than disgraceful. At its core, Washington's quote is about alignment between intention and action, individual and collective, power and principle. Discipline is the bridge that connects these elements. Without it, strength dissipates. With it, even weakness can prevail. In modern times, the battlefield has expanded. The armies of today include organizations, communities, and even individuals navigating complex social and economic challenges. Yet the truth of Washington's words remains intact. Discipline still transforms small teams into formidable forces. It still enables the disadvantaged to succeed, and it still earns respect where raw power cannot. Ultimately, discipline is an act of faith. Faith that order is possible, that effort matters, and that character shapes destiny. By calling it the soul of an army, Washington reminds us that the greatest battles are not only fought with weapons, but within the will. Where discipline lives, strength follows. Where it is absent, even abundance decays.